We hear a lot about global warming, but an entire country in danger of sinking? That's what they're worried about in the Netherlands. Global warming is expected to cause the sea level to rise between 4 inches and 3 feet this century. So it's no wonder the Dutch take climate changes very seriously. The Dutch have long been at war with water. With half of their country below sea level, they've built elaborate dikes and windmill systems to preserve their farmland. But climate change and rising seas are causing the Netherlands to sink even more. And scientists are worried that dikes and gates may not be able to hold the water much longer.
Because what we think that will going to happen is that there will be a climate change, which now starts already a little bit. And this will cause not only the sea to rise, but also give heavy rains in the winter, but also drier summers.
Well, imagine that the Dutch people, they are already struggling for centuries with the sea, the North Sea, which is our border to the North Sea. And we have experienced many floods taking away the lives of hundreds of thousands of Dutch people. So coastal defenses, it simply had to become a Dutch discipline, because even nowadays half of the country is below sea level. And that will become worse if the greenhouse effect really takes place, as forecasted by the scientists.
30 to 40% of the country's land was created by man, pumping water out from marshlands. But as water was pumped out, the land settled lower and lower. Today, more than 10 million people live below sea level, on land that only stays dry because of the constant work of pumps and dikes. One idea has been radical. Instead of struggling so hard, why not give some of the country back to the sea?
We always struggled, we always fought the sea, but that might be quite stupid in future. It might be necessary to give a lot of land back to the sea, because the sea and the rivers simply need space.
The idea is to let water back into hundreds of miles of the lowest lying farmland. These new flood control lakes could also be used for recreation and wildlife. Dikes would be moved inland, opening large areas of sand dunes to the tides.
We have to be creative. It is possible to build floating houses. We do it now in Eiburg, near Amsterdam. There's a new part of the city, and parts of it will be floating. If you see it, you don't see it's a boat. It's a big house with a roof and everything. People like to live near the water.
But after all the work it took to get rid of the water in the first place, there is resistance.
We have an old generation that has suffered flooding and that is convinced that the only way to live in Holland is really fight the water and build dikes as hard as you can.
But Holland also has a younger generation who look at water as something which brings pleasure and which brings a pretty landscape. Regardless of what is decided, a lot of people believe that a fundamental shift in the way the Dutch approach water is inevitable.